boys and girls, children of all ages. It is me, Dukect, and I am here once again. It's Wednesday evening. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I am here on TalkShoe.com. If you're listening live on TalkShoe.com. If you're not listening to me live, you can listen to me on the recording on Podbean, MP3 version of the MP3 version of the podcast, video podcast. You can find me on YouTube.com, ManExpression.com, FreakinAwesomeNetwork.com, and on BitChute as well. So we are going to be talking about something I have been waiting to talk about for a good long while. It's been honestly just been a really, so the subject has been really on my mind for a long while. And it's been stirring. And I have been talking about this, about NXT. Yes, NXT. I'm going to be talking about this subject because I actually really, this is something I do like NXT. I watched NXT years ago, and I kept watching. It was like really fun. It was a nice breath of fresh air seeing the young talents and talents WWE have put to these this developmental stuff to actually connect with the crowd. I think Sami Zayn, that was his best role there as a wrestler. I don't know his whole role as a manager at this point, but I don't know about that. But it's just, it's just like there was a lot of good and positive stuff. I mean, Ciampa, people say I think he found his great place at NXT. All these other people, they have really done a great job with this like little brand WWE's cultivated. And, props to them, props to Triple H, Paul Mystique or whatever, I can't pronounce his last name. But yeah, I mean, he did a really good job there, and the others as well, with him. But here's the problem. Recently, NXT has not been, getting that type of hype. Some say it's AEW, and that could be a bit of it. But in my scope of why but NXT is getting this less hype, this less of a way of bringing in new people into NXT is multiple factors. And one of the main things, and there's a lot of things I can get into, but one of the main things to me is NXT, they forgot their developmental brand, stuff, the minor leagues to WWE, and I think that was their best part. That was the best thing for NXT, was a developmental brand and such. A 1 hour show on the NXT WWE network and showcases stuff. And I know it was very popular, and it was actually the most popular time because it was that they actually focused on this like small niche audience, and it did fill up those arenas for the most part. But yeah, I just think NXT, it's just right now they're getting really, really, I think they fall in too much of that niche hole. They became they people who are, they love that style of wrestling. They realize they can watch it in other places and not be connected with WWE. It just seems to be just this same stuff over and over again. In fact, the only real positive thing I've seen in NXT is the women's division. I think that NXT's women's division, that is probably the best women's division right now. Better than Raw, SmackDown, Ring of Honor, Impact. Impact is at least second. Way better AEW. And I'm on Nyla Rose. They had a really good match with Nyla Rose and Reheld, and Nyla Rose is a champ. I like that. That's good. But let's be honest, NXT's women's division blows it off the water. And they have a ways to go. Hopefully, AEW can catch up at that. But everything else just seems secondary. It seems like it's not really important. And not only by targeting this other demographic, the niche, smart demographic, or whatever you want to call them. I mean, it might be smarts, but even then, I think they're not that many. And also, they have been focusing on one main group that has hurt it. And you know that main group is the Undisputed Era. Oh yes, the Undisputed Era. I don't know. I didn't watch it a while. I just wasted my brain just freezed and such. But yeah, they concentrated so much on the Undisputed Era that they made every bit of their talent seem to be secondary or non-existent. Their tag team division, non-existent. They got the new North American Championship. I mean, on new challengers. That's good. With Keith Lee, I like that. And Adam Cole has held that belt. I want to see how long Adam Cole has held the NXT title. I want to see how long has he held that NXT championship. Let's see. Yada yada yada. Da 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 da. Where is it? Let's see. NXT championship. Let's see. Da 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 da. Let's see. He has held it for, oh my gosh, since June 1st. Since June 1st of last year. And he has held that belt. And since then, it's just became the Adam Cole show. And it has gotten worse. And that's the problem when you have heel groups. They take over the show and they win all the time. It drains it's just like they don't have, the longer you wait for the beginning of the comeuppance, the longer people will not go for it. Tommaso Ciampa, he might get it. He might win. But let's be honest, I wouldn't be surprised he loses. But that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, it reminded me so much of, it reminds me so much of these, like, but yet, so said, what about Chris Jericho? I will say this, Chris Jericho has been entertaining. Adam Cole, the things I've seen him, he's not entertaining. I know he has his fans, but holding a championship for that long and not being entertaining can drive people away. It has driven people away with the ratings and such, which honestly, it just did not. It didn't. Again, it just kept going along to a point that you're just like, I can't watch Adam Cole. But yet, Chris Jericho's entertaining. You had this whole, Inner Circle. They have their fun. Sammy Guevara with his little notes there. Jake Hager, he's doing stuff. Proud and Powerful. They're doing things. And I think the reason why people like the Inner Circle more is that they're not overwhelming the show of AEW. They're not actually just taking over the show and they're a part of it. They're a big part, but they're not all over the place. The problem with NXT, like I said, it's just, it's just that it just, again, when I look at the way that the structure of WWE is just what they do with these heels and everything, stuff like that. They run them for so long. They run them for so long to the point that they just, people are like saying, just have to wait, and just wait a couple more weeks and months, then they do it. And so this little these fans that are actually trying to do that, they're placating them, and I'm like, eventually the guys have to win. The good guys have to win, and you don't see that with the majority champions. Like I said, Keith Lee won. It was great. But it's like, yeah, it took a little too long. Also, I mean, that's why you look at what happened with NXT Women's Division. You had Shayna Baszler lose to, Rhea Ripley, who I believe is doing really good. I like her. I think she's going to be one of the best young women's champions. Yeah, she's only 23. I can't wait to see her at WrestleMania. I think that's going to be really fun. First, I think when she won the NXT Championship, it was a great and emotional feeling because Shayna Baszler held that belt for way too long, and now she's out for blood, literally with Becky Lynch. But yeah, it just when you hold championship, it's people think that if you held a championship long, it doesn't. You're like, okay. When you hold a championship as long as, like, says Baszler or, say, Adam Cole, you have to keep the people interested. You have to keep them engaged. And I think what the problem is with NXT is that they can't engage the audience because it's so dour and depressed. And it can change the next TakeOver, but heck, no one's talking about TakeOver. In fact, it's so bad that when they did their Worlds Collide review... the whole NXT Worlds Collide, let's see how many people were attended it. I want to see how many people, I want to see how many people attended. Let's see, let's see, how many people attended. I want to see the attendance, and yeah, I look at this Inquisitor. Is that there was a lot of open, empty seats. And I'll put a link, you see in the video part. I will put these right here. You'll see them. It's ringsidernews.com. They're on Twitter. I'll put these stuff right here. Is that there were a lot of empty seats. And there were a lot of stuff here. But why are they not going? I mean, if NXT was so popular, why is this happening to these major cards? Is that people are tired of it? I think, again, the reason why people are getting a little tired of NXT is, like I said, the heels continue to win. The good guys are not actually look good. I know Dream has come back, which is nice. He's going after Roger Strong's family, which is okay. So, to a point, I'm like, another thing is that it's confusing. It's a confusion of like who's the babyface and who's the heel. Is that Dream's going after Roger Strong's family? That's usually a heel move, and I'm like, what? What in the world are you doing? What are you doing, man? What are you doing? I don't know. Maybe because again, I thought the Undisputed Era are the bad guys, and now you make the bad guys look good by trying to replace, like, Dream wants to replace him with his family. I'm like, wow, that's okay. That's to me another issue. WWE to make the bad guys so sympathetic, you know. It's a weird thing with WWE booking is that you make your villains into heroes and yet your heroes into villains. I know people seem to like that, but to me, I'd rather have my heroes to be heroes and the villains to be villains. I get enough of that in Marvel and DC Comics doing that crap. I'm tired of that crap. So why can't I have, why can't the WWE just have the bad guys and the good guys? This confusion just makes everything seem, let's think that's the whole wrestling across the board. I know you want to have the bad guys likable, but you don't want to make them too likable, you know? You don't want to have him too likable. I mean, at least Chris Jericho does that, which I think the reason why they cheer him because he's a legend. Like, okay, he's funny, but also he's a legend and such. But here, but in NXT, I just don't know why WWE, or like I said, even AEW or anyone else, when you're here, when your villains are more liked than your heroes, then that to me, just that's what it is. That's the problem. And when that happens, it confuses people, and people just don't want to watch the shows or be a part of the shows anymore. That to me is one of the main issues. So, yeah, I this to me is one of the main issues that WWE is going to have to eventually face, is how to connect with the crowd while connect the crowd with heroes and villains. And I think that they can do that, but it was going to take a lot of work to do so. And when I look at NXT, that's one of the main problems I see. They oversaturated. They made the heels so powerful that they're more liked, and the baby faces look completely teethless. They're trying to figure it now, but I think the damage is done. And, well, you look at AEW, I think the previous show was great. This tonight's show, I honestly think is one of their best shows. We had a great tag team title match, and it continued the story with Dark Order and how they're doing. I think Dark Order, I'll say it, they've gotten better. The Dark Order has gotten a lot better. And the way to build up this whole tag team battle royal. Also, you have, Nyla Rose becoming the AEW Women's Champion. You have, again, Moxley and the Inner Circle. They're doing their thing. I like the fact they have that. Jeff Cobb comes out and takes down Moxley, building up as a threat. MJF and Jungle Boy, good stuff. I hope Jungle Boy starts winning, not just on AEW Dark, but also on the main show. I hope he goes on like a winning streak and actually gets to the mid-card championship. That would be amazing. That to me, and that's when I look at AEW, like I said, AEW, again, I liked it. I love the promos. Santana's promo was great as well. Again, really good variety here, and I really liked it. The problem, like I said, NXT, the problem, and Britt Baker's, I almost forgot Britt Baker's rant and actually cutting people, rant and basically jab at people who like Whataburger down in Texas. That's beautiful. I like her. Again, the new direction seemed to work very well with AEW. When I look at NXT, another big issue, which I think most people will agree with, and I've been ranting again, is that when I look at NXT, they're still in that stupid. NXT. I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to say this. They are still at that. Goodness gracious! Oh goodness, man! I can't watch. You know what? I'm going to say this. Why is the NXT is still doing Full Sail? Why are you going to still be at Full Sail? Yet this is supposedly a third brand. This is a third brand, and you're still trying to treat this into a, trying to make it like this sort of indie. That's not supposed to happen. That's not supposed to how you build up a third brand. You want to make it matter. Why don't you start traveling? Why don't you get out of your Full Sail, get out of this modern day impact zone, and actually go and tour? Just film the stuff on your live events. Make it feel like if you want to have that like that low fi, that old school mindset, but why don't you do it? You can't do that. But yet, I think the reason why is that the only places they sell out are the small arenas. And they don't want to show that. No, because they like the big time. They want to show the show is big and see it as important and everything else. I'm like, no. You're not this. No, you can't do. You can't have this whole dichotomy. You want to be the underdog, but you want to just flex your muscles. Saying you're not. You have to pick one. What are you? What is NXT? What is it? Who is it selling for? I mean, since they're a third brand and such, you're supposed you want to be the true alternative to WWE, this Raw and the SmackDowns. Then why are you? I mean, prove it. Go out and actually draw. Go out and actually start drawing people into your shows. I mean, at NXT TakeOver, people are not even talking about it. Most of I know my Twitter feed is not the style stuff, but people actually talk about it. Are like, oh my gosh, I'm so pumped. Are they so pumped for NXT TakeOver? Are they so pumped for NXT TakeOver in Portland? Are they pumped up? I hope they are. I want this thing to be. I want NXT to actually bring people in. I stopped watching because, again, I don't like watching I don't want them. It's just, again, it reminds me so much of the Impact Zone. At least TNA had an excuse. They were just a young company at the time. NXT has proven they can do shows on the road, so why continue doing the same tapings and such? I'm tired of this whole you're trying to be bigger than they are, you know. That's what it is, and that's the frustrating part of NXT to me. Why can't they draw? Is that they think they're the underdog, but people don't see it. They aren't. But yeah, I really, really, really hope that they actually get their act together. Because I believe that NXT can be good. I believe NXT can be great. I believe NXT can be that that type of level again, something I can continue to watch. But right now, I just don't see NXT just being another. I just see them just as another distraction, another show that WWE puts on, another big slog of WWE show to put on, and I hate to be that way because, again, I love the NXT Women's Division. I think, again, it's the best women's division in America right now, and again, I love other wrestlers in it. I like Johnny Gargano. I like Velveteen Dream. I like Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, Dijak. I can't pronounce his own name because it just I know he's from Maryland, but I can't do it. No. I wouldn't be surprised WWE just call him the Big D. Hey, they have Big E, so why not have Big D there? I don't care. I don't. It just gosh, isn't it? But yeah, that's just. But yeah. But that's just, again, me, and I wish that the WWE can actually make this into something a lot more, a lot more of not just more open, more people to come in. Because, again, when I look at NXT, so much potential, but they're tripping over themselves. Hopefully, they, when the draft comes, they get the era. Oh gosh, I just, my brain goes into these weird places. The Undisputed Era. There it is. The Undisputed Era. They break up because they have been so dominant. In fact, let me just see. Let me see something right quick. How long the Undisputed Era? Yada yada yada. Oh, they hold that for 181 days. In fact, yeah. Let's see. Before then, the North American Championship was held at least for, oh goodness, Oh yeah, Velveteen Dream held that for 230 days and such. But yeah, yeah. Again, when you hold the belt for so long, it's just when you hold the belt for so long, it just again when you have an era, this undisputed era holds the championships for so long, it just brings like, oh gosh, it's too long. It just like when the heels and when the villains hold the championships for far too long, it just makes you feel like the heroes just don't know when the heroes are too idiotic, and why should I root for the heroes? You're just basically rooting for the villains at this point, and that should not be the main goal of WWE. That's just my personal opinion. Could be wrong though. Could be wrong. But I want to hear what your thoughts on. Comments below and all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm going to take a little break here. When we come back, we're going to talk a little Bioware. Yep. Looks like they're trying to save Anthem. I'll hear my thoughts about it later here live on the Dukect Lounge. We'll be right back right after this.